Tonight, Israel has struck back against Iran for Iran's retaliation against Israel for striking the Iranian consulate, or a portion of it, in the capital of Syria, Damascus. Now, one of the issues we have is, what is the consequence of all of this going to be? Today is Khamenei, I'm going to mess up his name. It is the supreme leader of Iran's birthday. You have his birthday on the 19th, and this is just 3 days before Passover. Israel originally suggested they would not strike back against Iran until after Passover, though even though they gave a pre-heads up to the U.S., they did, mostly in secret, just surprise attack Iran. Iran's Supreme Council is holding an emergency meeting. What we're hearing from Iran is that on-the-ground sites in Iran were not damaged. It's unclear if this was a messaging ploy from Israel or if Iran was able to eliminate Israeli strikes. We do have arguments that coming from Iran that Iran would potentially respond with a weapon they have never used before. That could be, as some have said, potentially a dirty bomb, which might be some form of a bomb that contains nuclear particles. That's unlikely, though, since it would likely very much upset the coalition in the Middle East, as well as Russia and China, who are allies of Iran. Iran, though, has promised a more significant response if Israel responds. Israel has now responded, and so Israel is coming back suggesting they will target Israeli nuclear strikes with a counterattack. One of the reasons there's talk about potentially striking Israel and Israel's nuclear facilities with a counterattack is because Israel attempted to strike, or maybe did, it's unclear based on how much we can trust the Iranian media at this point. It does appear that Israel attempted to strike Isfahan. Now, this is very important. This is about 300 kilometers south of Tehran, the capital of Iran. And why this is so important is that we've got a few critical elements here at Isfahan. Number one, in the center of Isfahan, we have the University of Isfahan. And if we navigate between the international airport and the Isfahan University of Technology, we could see one location up here in the northwest. One of these locations, either the northwest location or the location in the actual city, because there is another location in the city, either of these locations are part of the University of Isfahan, and they are believed to be part of Iran's nuclear research facility. So it's possible that Israel's attempted strike against Iran here was a messaging tool to suggest, hey, if you think you're safe, we can strike you when you least expect it, and we know where your nuclear facilities are. Over here at the Isfahan International Airport, we believe there are F-14 Tomcats based here. Marco Rubio suggested that in the Northeast there is an airbase with F-14 Tomcats. These are 1970s technology. It's possible they could be here in basic hangars. Here's, for example, a hangar labeled Army Jet Hangar. Gosh, doesn't take much of the CIA to decide, okay, where to strike. Of course, who knows, maybe that's just clickbait. But it is not uncommon for hangars to be near the end of a runway that are used for military purposes, to have quick access to those runways. Another potential target, though again unclear, given that it doesn't look like there's very clear evidence that we do have strikes on the ground in Isfahan. Another potential target could have been a military airbase here. As you can see, multiple transport helicopters here. We do also have another airbase right here with multiple helicopters. In fact, if we ping this particular location, we will be able to see, there we go, we'll see some imagery of the airbase in the southern portion of Isfahan, showing you the sort of damaged tarmac here. but helicopter landing site. So this is one area that was potentially attacked, as well as Natanz, a province outside of Isfahan, may have also potentially been a target of attacks, both of these south of Tehran. In addition, we do have a notice to airmen that any air travel between Isfahan and Baghdad would be halted, potentially because, as Marco Rubio pointed out, it is possible that Israel struck Iran from airstrikes originating from Baghdad. That is, Israel may have flown over Baghdad, struck Baghdad, specifically where a meeting was allegedly taking place between Iranian Revolutionary Guard individuals and Iranian proxies, and potentially at the same time launched missiles from here. It would only take about 15 minutes for a directed missile from, say, an F-35 or otherwise to go from a manned aircraft here to targets within Iran. Missiles could also circulate in the air for a period of time until being coordinated to strike at the same time, or until they verify the targets that they're looking for, and then they strike, comparing satellite imagery to what vision-based systems the missiles have on board. Iranian state media is suggesting that there was a drone attack carried out by Israeli groups, and that Iran was able to defend against these. It's unclear if these strikes struck the ground or not at this point, as there's a lack of trust from, really, quite frankly, any media outlet at this point. There are still drones being struck in the area, or being observed in the area over Isfahan. There are Iranian media claims that air defense systems have become active and destroyed these, quote, drones in the sky. We've had some dramatic movements in markets here. Pre-market, we're down plus or minus 1% in U.S. stocks. The Nikkei is down about 3.3% in Japan. You've got bond yields down about 10 basis points, as there is a bit of a flight to safety in bonds. Oil up about 3% to about $90 per barrel on the international blend. Gold up over 2,400. Bitcoin briefly dropped below 60,000, down to the upper 5,900 range, with Ethereum down to a low of about 2,880. However, since recovering, Bitcoin now up to about 61.6. Big questions now are going to be, how is Iran going to respond? Some red alerts being claimed in Israel, northern parts of Israel, potentially due to hostile drone intrusions being launched by Lebanon into Israel. Remember, you also have multiple Iranian-backed forces in the area around Israel that really create a lot of competitors for Israel to fight with. Now, we're going to go through some of those. I quickly want to just remind you, we have an expiring coupon code on those programs on Building Your Wealth, and the buy-sell alerts for trading in the Stocks and Psychology Money Group, all those at meetkevin.com. That does expire tomorrow at 11:59 p.m. If you want to bundle those up, email us at staff@meetkevin.com. So what kind of backed force, Iranian-backed forces do we have? Well, we have Hezbollah. Hezbollah originates from the north in Lebanon. We've got Hamas, which, as we saw, is Palestinian-based. There are other Palestinian jihad movements or West Bank militants as well. Then we have the Houthis in Yemen. We have Syria, which is your only ally for Iran in the region, though Iran does ally with Russia and with China. China buys Iranian oil cheaper than it could buy oil on the free market. And of course, Iran supplies Russia with drones like the Shahid 131s or the 136s. They manufacture those for between $40,000 to $50,000 a piece. They're piston-propelled drones that can carry a warhead. They're typically deemed to be suicide drones. Kamikaze drones is another way to put that. And some individuals believe that Russia pays about $200,000 per Shahid 131, and this is why Russia wants to manufacture these locally in Russia in coordination with Iran. The big question now, though, is what kind of strike back are we going to get from Iran? Iran has suggested they would respond with a weapon they've never used before, promising a more significant response, and suggesting they might target Israeli nuclear sites with a response. There was apparently pre-notification to the United States There are, again, multiple reports that no strikes on the ground in Iran have actually succeeded, that instead only strikes have landed in Baghdad. We are still listening very closely to see what other kind of information we can get, though it's possible that, or it's likely rather, that the target for Israel was not a nuclear target, though that was initially rumored. We do also have the initial rumor that Israel would try to not target anything that would affect human lives, that this would be a limited response. Of course, this is clearly an escalation, and now the question is going to be, what is Iran going to respond with? Remember the disproportionate responses of force that we have seen. Hamas and the Hamas attack on October 7th of last year led to the death of about just over 1,000 individuals. However, the subsequent Israeli retaliation led to the death of over 30,000 men, women, children, fighters, you name it, in Gaza, and obviously the massive humanitarian crisis we now have in Gaza. In addition to that, we have Israel's strike on the Damascus consulate, which would be deemed a Iranian set of soil. A consulate or a portion of a consulate would be deemed Iranian soil, which, of course, Iran responded with a drone and ballistic missile attack, counterattack to Israel, 99.9% of which were shot down by the combined forces of the Royal Air Force, the British Royal Air Force, the United States Air Force, and, of course, the Israeli defense systems. Keep in mind that Israel's response was likely expected to cost somewhere between $1 to $1.2 billion. A lot of that likely funded by the United States. We did just have the Navy argue that they just ran through $1 billion worth of munitions. You do have missile defense systems that can cost anywhere between $400,000 to $2 million per rocket to respond. You have Sidewinder missiles that appear to be used or have been used in taking down some of these kamikaze drones. Each Sidewinder can typically run about typically $2 million or so. So very, very expensive to see these counterattacks. And this escalation is clearly being borne by, the cost is being borne by either Israeli taxpayers, U.S. taxpayers, or a combination of them all. But it's also going to be paid globally in the form of likely higher energy price inflation, as we are seeing oil prices rise. There's some questions about whether or not this would lead the Federal Reserve to potentially cut rates sooner. No, if anything, it would actually be the opposite. The Federal Reserve responds to inflation, not geopolitical concerns, and anything that is likely to escalate inflation, unfortunately, is likely to escalate the need for higher rates for longer. Just earlier today, we had Bostic and Williams from the Federal Reserve suggest that we might not even see any rate cuts this year, and that rates might stay at the level they are now, 5.375, for the rest of the year. We'll stay tuned. Make sure to subscribe to get more updates. If you have not yet, make sure to get life insurance in as little as 5 minutes by going to metkevin.com/life. It's a paid promotion. It's the same life insurance Lauren and I use, and you can Apple Pay and Android Pay for it. metkevin.com/life, metkevin.com/life. Another thing you could do is you could type in metkevin.com/roadshow. We're about to do a roadshow for House Hack, where you can meet me in person in various different areas. Likely we'll be in New York, Florida, Texas, Vegas, California, different locations throughout the country. So make sure you register which city you're most interested in learning about my real estate startup House Hack. That's metkevin.com/roadshow. And then, of course, remember, we have an expiring coupon code on those programs on Building Your Wealth tomorrow, 11:59 p.m. If you need a bundle coupon, you have questions about bundling up between courses, upgrading, you want to come to the event we're doing this summer in June, make sure to check out or just email us at staff@meetkevin.com. We can help you out. There are also now claims about an earlier meeting of the emergency meeting of the Supreme National Council potentially being false. So as usual, when you hear information here or anywhere and it is breaking news, make sure to remember that we want to take everything with a grain of salt. So it is now possible that this news was false on the Iranian Supreme Council. Obviously, when news is breaking, you never know. You've got Reuters that can print false information, the Associated Press, Bloomberg, you name it. So take everything with a grain of salt, especially pictures and videos that you see. But clearly, we are now on standby for an Iranian response and nervous about what that could entail. So thank you for watching the breaking news with me. I appreciate all over 45,000 of you that were here. Make sure to subscribe, whether you're the 28,000 on X. Make sure to hit follow. I like to bring live breaking news here. Or if you're watching on YouTube or you'd prefer to watch on YouTube, look me up on YouTube, Meet Kevin on YouTube, and you can subscribe there. To the 54 of you on Twitch, where is everybody on Twitch? Anyway, thanks StreamYard for helping me stream to multiple different destinations. They're a partner of the channel as well. metkevin.com/StreamYard to learn more about them so I can multi-stream. Bitcoin now over 62,000 as we are getting a rebound. Thank you everybody so much for watching. Appreciate y'all, and I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye, good luck, stay safe, and thank you.
Why not advertise these things that you told us here? I feel like nobody else knows about this.
We'll try a little advertising and see how it goes.
Congratulations, man. You have done so much. People love you. People look up to you.
Kevin Paffrath there, financial analyst and YouTuber. Meet Kevin. Always great to get your take.
Even though I'm a licensed financial advisor, licensed real estate broker, and becoming a stockbroker, this video is not personalized advice for you. It is not tax, legal, or otherwise personalized advice tailored to you. This video provides generalized perspective, information, and commentary. Any third-party content I show shall not be deemed endorsed by me. This video is not and shall never be deemed reasonably sufficient information for the purposes of evaluating a security or investment decision. Any links or promoted products are either paid affiliations or products or services we may benefit from. I also personally operate an actively managed ETF. I may personally hold or otherwise hold long or short positions in various securities, potentially including those mentioned in this video. However, I have no relationship to any issuer other than HouseHack, nor am I presently acting as a market maker. Make sure if you're considering investing in HouseHack to always read the PPM at househack.com.